Welcome to the Lawson and Gift podcast. Make sure to hit that like button, share the videos, and we're about halfway through the season, and we got some coaches on the hot seat.
Yeah, Giff, we've seen some really bad coaching this year. Let's be completely honest about it. The one I'm going to lead off with is Vic Fangio. I don't think they're going to cut him from his job. I think they're going to bull in long term from him. But I would ask the question to people, what's the difference between him and Vance Joseph? You know, and remember they kept Vance Joseph around a year too long. I don't think Vic Fangio has much future. Me and you were pretty much the only people not to like that hire, and people are seeing why now.
Yeah, and I can't disagree with you because at some point, like maybe even next year, he might be a scapegoat. But I think that those problems are coming from the higher ups.
From GM.
Yeah,
John Elway needs to lose his job.
Because, you got to give Elway credit for getting Peyton Manning there and doing what he did with that. But after that whole scenario, now they've completely dismantled this team, and I don't even know who they are anymore. I mean, you trade away Emmanuel Sanders, who's a really good receiver that would have been with you, should be with you for the next few years. Now he's not. I just don't know what they're even building towards.
Yeah, every time they make a good draft pick like Courtland Sutton, they make a draft pick like Garrett Bowles. Every time they make one step forward, they bring in another crappy quarterback.
So now and now it's going to hurt Sutton's value because now teams are just going to key in on him. Mm-hmm. So they don't have another wideout. Defensively, I think that could be built up through the next couple of years. I think because you still have Bradley Chubb coming back. But yeah, I just think there's internal
They
issues.
have to go full rebuild, and I don't know if they have the guts to do it.
So another coach here, Adam Gase. I didn't think that it would be a huge problem. I thought that he would be able to make this offense a little bit better, but it's just so obvious the players are railing around Greg Williams.
Yeah.
I think that they probably should have just made him head coach. I don't know why everybody's so standoffish with Greg Williams, probably because of Bounty Gate, I'm going to assume.
Well, he's not a bootlicker, Gaff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people in suits don't like Greg Williams because he's not going to sit down and bootlick. Which is something I admire, and that's why the players will go out there and die for him, almost. But you're right, Gip. Adam Gase also can't connect with human beings.
No, we've seen problems even before the season even started. He had problems with Le'Veon Bell. We also see him misusing Le'Veon Bell, not using him as a receiver as much, which I think they should try to get creative with him. They're not doing that. We've seen him bench defensive players because of disciplinary reasons. For me, Adam Gase is too erratic, and look at that Patriot game. I mean, I know it's the Patriots, but 0 points.
There's no excuse. And he left his young quarterback out there to suffer. And, it's easy to blame Darnold, but when is Gase going to get the ball out of his hands quick? The pressure's coming all night. Where's a slant route? Where's a wide receiver screen? Where's play action, misdirection? Where's anything like that? It wasn't to be had. And I don't know if Adam Gase can even control his own coaching staff, let alone control all the players on the team.
Well, and last thing I'll say, I already said that the players gravitated towards Greg Williams, but players don't respect Adam Gase. I think it's fair enough to say that.
And also, you mentioned the word erratic. He did a little bit of damage control in like a Sports Illustrated article where he says he drinks like 4 pots of coffee a day. I'm just going to go on record. I'm not buying that.
No, I'm not buying that either.
Yeah.
We've had our speculations about that interview when he got hired and the way his eyes looked in the interview, and he's erratic. He does some kind of a hard drug, and it's affecting. I think it's affecting his coaching.
Yeah, of course.
And he just looked so puzzled in that New England game, man. The expression on his face was like a ghost stare. It was terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, another coach, and I said a few weeks ago that he had one cheek on the hot seat, and now it's getting to be more and more. The season is starting to get away from the Cleveland Browns. Freddie Kitchens is on the hot seat.
Yeah, Giff, me and you, I'm not trying to act like we're Nostradamus or anything, but was there much criticism about Freddie Kitchens other than us?
Well, we were skeptical even before the season.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, to bring up Greg Williams, we thought it was his job. We thought he earned it. I wasn't that impressed with the turnaround from the offense with the Browns last year simply because they went from one of the worst teams to a little bit better. So everybody thought Freddie Kitchens was this offensive genius. Not looking like that so far. And right now, and I know we're going to talk about that division, but I don't like their chances.
No, Geff, I don't like their chances. I don't know if this man is ready to be an NFL head coach. I do wonder what the Browns are going to do. I wonder what the win total he needs to be able to save his job. And we know the Ravens are playing pretty good football right now. But really, man, this set up for the Browns to win this division. And it doesn't seem like they're going to be close.
It's just the fact that he's underachieving for me too. Like you said, they're not close, they're not consistent, but just so many weapons offensively. You know, a great running back, good receivers, a quarterback that's more than capable. Yet the play calling is so off, and it puts his players in bad positions. Freddie Kitchens, I think he should be fired right now. Maybe they could salvage the season.
I mean, firing guys mid-year, if you don't have like someone ready to take over as intern, is usually a bad idea. But you're right, this man should probably lose his job. I'd be fine with him losing his job end of the season.
With the talent they have, maybe they could spark something. If somebody came in and just maybe got more creative with the run game and then more play action, opened up some things, I think it'd be worth it for them. Another coach, Mike Vrabel, with the Titans, and first of all, and I've said it time and time again, he doesn't even understand the personnel that he has. He doesn't understand how to put his players in the best position to win. I do give him credit for benching Mariota. I think, Tannehill going in there, he's given them a little bit in that one game so far. But, man, I just think that the defense underachieves at times, and I think the offense is really where he can't get anything done. That's where he hurts the team the most, I think.
Giff, I think he's going to survive. It's just because there's not a lot of pressure for Tennessee. The fans aren't calling for his head, and simply the fans don't expect much. They have really low standards.
Yeah, I look at that offense and I think they could be a lot better.
Well, he was a man who didn't earn this job before, and the Titans seem to have the plan of Patriots pixie dust.
Yep, you got an all-star running back, you barely use him, and Derrick Henry. We'll talk about another coach. Now, I don't personally think he should be on the hot seat, but Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, I'm starting to hear rumblings, and I would say absolutely not. If Anthony Lynn was a free agent as a head coach, I think he'd get a job in a minute. But you're right. You remember when we were saying last year, we felt like Adam Gase would be fired, almost like a scapegoat fire for the Miami Dolphins. Look out for Anthony Lynn possibly being scapegoated. I don't think it should happen. I don't know if it will happen, but anything is a possibility when people need to be scapegoated and when they don't want to look at, their franchise quarterback who's getting into his 40s, or if they don't want to look at some of their bad drafts in this league.
Yep, and especially if they're planning on keeping Rivers for another year or two, I think that's where Anthony Lynn can end up being a scapegoat. I don't agree with it because things aren't working out the way we thought they would with the Chargers. I mean, the offensive line, the organization hasn't delivered him a run-blocking offensive line. I don't know if they're forcing Melvin Gordon down his throat or not, but I do know that they win that game if they give it to Eckler.
And Eckler's been so much better than Melvin Gordon. It needs to be sad.
Yeah, and then, of course, the defense has had their injury issues, but really the offense is where I think they're going to use him as a scapegoat. Dan Quinn with the Falcons up next. He should be fired immediately.
We made this call. We said if he lost to the Tennessee Titans, he should be fired.
Yep.
And they might have been able to salvage this season a little bit, at least make it a little bit interesting if they got rid of him early. This was one of the cases where you fire this guy mid-season. But, this coach is probably on the hottest of hottest seat.
They let this go way too far with Dan Quinn, and it's definitely on the coach when your team is this unmotivated. And also when players are interrupting you. That I was shocked when I read that. I texted you about it. But Julio Jones, getting up and literally making Dan Quinn be quiet so he can speak to the team.
It's crazy.
It shows that Dan Quinn has no power. He's very meek, very quiet, not a leader. I don't think he should be head coach.
No, Geff, and I don't know why he still has a job. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. I do not know what's going on in Atlanta. After these past 2 years, the stuff that's transpired with the immense amount of talent, it might be the most disappointing situation in the NFL.
I wish. Well, we know that that's the reason why Atlanta is as bad as they are right now. Is the head coach? I just can't believe how unmotivated the team is. Like how dead they look on the field.
Yeah, we could talk X's and O's. We can talk schemes. We could talk him playing too much zone coverage and whatnot. But you're right, Gift. This team has lacked desire. This team has lacked perseverance. They really only played one good game, and that was against the Eagles.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to say the Cardinals game was good because they scored over 30 points, but I thought that was more pathetic on the defense on that side.
It was pathetic, man.
Another coach that's on the hot seat, Matt Patricia with the Lions, and it just comes down to how many below-average seasons are they going to accept. There's a lot that I like about the Lions to some degree, and I think defensively they need to add more talent. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. But offensively, I like Stafford. I think that eventually they could get the run game going if they got creative. They have some weapons. I'm not saying that this team is overly talent-stocked, but he is farly underachieving with this team.
He's the reason why this team is they probably should be near 9 or 10 wins, but they're going to be around 7. Giffen, when he had a chance to add defensive talent, he spent the whole bank account on Trey Flowers because he used to play for the Patriots. And that seems to be a theme with this team. And Giff, I heard all off season, Lions are going to run the ball. I mean, we've seen the last 2 years the amount of resources with Ragnow, Glasgow, the right tackle from Baltimore, blanking on his name right now. We've seen how many resources they've devoted to this offensive line. If they can't run anything, and Kerryon Johnson, while he looks good sometimes, he's not a top 20 running back, and they can't run the goddamn ball, and they don't play good defense. This is a team that I don't like, and he's trying to make it like the Patriots. Like, no, we don't need defensive ends. We don't need edge rushers. We'll just take Snacks Harrison and Trey Flowers and Mike Daniels, and that'll be good enough. No, it's not good enough. You're not the Patriots.
Yeah, you're not Belichick, and that's for sure.
And now he's trying to play man-to-man every play like Bill Belichick does. Like, it's just crazy.
And that show that that's not going to work, obviously, because all you have is Darius Slay in the secondary, and even he's a little banged up, but you want to play man-to-man. You saw what the Packers did to them.
You saw what the Vikings did to them.
Yes.
I mean, my goodness.
And something alarming that Patricia said this week was that the Quandre Diggs trade, a lot of defenders were actually upset about that, but he said that's going to help the team and things are going to turn around.
How's it going to help the team?
Because apparently Matt Patricia thought that he was a cancer. Made absolutely no sense. I don't see how one player getting traded away that actually was a good player is going to help your team.
No, Gaff, and this is the type of reductionist thinking that really is necessary to be able to put up with Matt Patricia. He makes promises. You think you're getting great defense. You think it's Patriots 2.0. But it's really a sad, sad mess. And if anyone's a cancer, shouldn't he say it's Darius Slay? Darius Slay has practically thrown his big fat ass under the bus and ran him over, then backed up, and then ran him over again. Matt Patricia, our big problem with him last year was we felt like the team wasn't properly motivated. We had problems with the schemes, but the big issue was were the players buying in? I think we have our answer.
And let's jump to another coach, and Jason Garrett, he might end up keeping his job because it's, like we said, it's looking more and more like the Cowboys are going to win the division by default with the Eagles collapsing. But even if he were to get fired, if the Cowboys somehow get derailed and don't pull off this division, it wouldn't be till after the season ends anyway, as far as what Jerry Jones
But that's
said.
still on the hot seat. That's still on the hot seat, so I think it's fair to have him here.
It's just fair to bring it up in case the Cowboys season does get derailed. But he'll be there. If they make the playoffs, he's not going anywhere. Jerry Jones is...
But if he loses in the first round, don't you think Jerry finally just says, like, I can't do this anymore?
Well, they're going to have some big decisions coming up, between Dak's contract, if they want to pay him, if they want to go forward with Jason Garrett. From what Jerry Jones has protected them for a long time, I don't see that changing.
You're probably right. You're one of the few people taking that stance. You're probably right. Although we did hear that Urban Meyer rumor this week. That was something that piqued my interest. I'm a huge Urban Meyer fan. I would love to see what he could do in an NFL environment. I know people would be happy to line up and try to see him fail, especially since it's the Cowboys. But yeah, Jason Garrett is on the hot seat, Giff. This team this team just isn't performing up to what everyone expects it to be. Maybe it's just overrated because the Cowboys are always on TV. But yeah, Jason Garrett's on the hot seat. It's fair to include him. I think if they get to the playoffs and they go 1-out and go home, I think he gets fired finally.
And we've certainly never seen him out-coach anybody or really bring anything to the table. I'm glad you brought up the Urban Meyer rumor because I think that would be a hot ticket sale. I think that would be very entertaining. Another coach that's on the hot seat, Pat Shurmur. The Giants are in a really bad spot, so I personally wouldn't blame him for anything. But Giants fans are so quick to criticize the coach, the fans actually might run him out.
Yeah, this reminds me of what happened to Adam Gase last year. It's just a pure scapegoat, just someone, to throw to the wolves, just to satisfy the people who are displeased with what's going on, someone to blame for Daniel Dimes not throwing touchdown passes and not making plays. This is just throwing red meat to the base. This doesn't change anything. Pat Shurmur's good. Is he great? Probably not, but he's a good, decent coach in this league. I wouldn't be here to sacrifice him, but at the end of the season, we could see we could see the Giants doing it. That's just the type of organization they are at this point.
And it's going to be interesting to see how far they push this thing with Daniel Jones. I've seen nothing right now that says that he can definitely develop and be a good quarterback going forward. I'm not going to throw him under the bus yet because obviously we've seen quarterbacks develop, take a little bit longer, but I'm really not liking this right now. He's not taking care of the football.
No.
And, all of his weapons are back now, aside from Shepard at receiver, So there really is no excuse.
And I'm no Golden Tate fan, but you give someone Golden Tate, Ingram, Saquon Barkley, some other periphery options. It's not the worst thing in the world, and he's digressed. I remember when we made that money pick where we begged people to bet the Vikings over the Giants after that Tampa Bay game. But he actually came out against the Vikings and showed some things. But you're right, it's been a regression since then, and that Cardinals game was eye-opening. It's going to be up and down with young quarterbacks, but I am taking your side on this one. I don't know how much this kid can really produce long-term.
Yep, and the front office, if they want to keep going forward with Daniel Jones and sell it to the fans that think that it's always the head coach.
The easiest way to do it is to fire the head coach and say, we're bringing in someone to work with Danny Dimes.
Yep, and we very may well see that. And the last name I have on our list, and again, I think I would keep Doug Marrone. I don't think that he should be put on the hot seat simply because of the situation that he's been dealt. You're dealing with defensive departures and very good defensive departures between Telvin Smith and Jalen Ramsey. That's just crippling. And then offensively, you think you're going to have Foles for the whole season and a resurgence in the offense. Not happening.
Then you get Minshew.
Then you get Minshew. I don't think any of that is Doug Marrone's fault. Actually, I really like the way he handles himself and handles the team. I think players respect him. I wouldn't get rid of him.
Yeah, I think the friction and the schism within the Jaguars organization was due to Tom Coughlin. And also Jalen Ramsey, he's just behaved despicable, even though I'm a big fan of his. But I think a lot of the tensions in this organization stem from Tom Coughlin. I would not fire Doug Marrone. I don't know if he should be on the hot seat. I think Doug Marrone will make some moves this year. I don't know if they can go out and surprise in this AFC South, maybe steal it from the Texans or Colts. I don't think they will, but I still think they finish with a decent win total and ahead of the Titans. It'll be a hard decision to make, and it's going to be hard to hire a better head coach than him, especially in Jacksonville with the situation they're in.
Yeah, and it would be a shame to see him go because of that. And it's just, how did Tom Coughlin do this though? If you have a player like Ramsey, dude, I would make sure that he is happy, 110%. Make sure that he is all behind us because you lose a player like that. As we said, how are they going to build their team? Doug Marrone might end up being the scapegoat.
Because someone like Tom Coughlin thinks it's the 90s still, and that's a problem.
I mean, you could talk to a rookie or somebody like a certain way, like scold him or whatever, but not a star player. You got to keep them happy.
Subscribe, hit the like button, share the videos, the Lawson and Gift podcast.